What's going on, guys? Hey, listen, we got a goodie today, hopefully, from the house of Joe Milano, Paris. It's not quite. Strap up. We're going for a ride. Welcome to the show. This is the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening. From the house of Joe Milano, Paris, to my knowledge. Let me know in the comments if I messed that up. I had to go directly to their website, so I'm pretty sure I'm spot on with this. It is Joe Milano, Paris, and this fragrance is Game of Spades Full House. I'm going to keep shouting out my boy because when you send a blessing to somebody, they deserve to be blessed back. Go check out my boy Gator at the Novice Nose out here in these streets, supporting content creators like myself with a plethora of samples that I'm excited to get into. Let's do our initial thoughts on this fragrance. I can't do a whole lot of story time with this fragrance. This is my first frag from the house of Joe Milano, Paris. And so, I'm not going to sit here and spit filler. Let's just get into the fragrance. Opening thoughts. I'm going to spray it again because this seems a little light on the buns. There's a fragrance that immediately comes to mind. Let's see if the name comes to my mind. It's a very reminiscent DNA. Okay. This is the part where normally we just roll through and I'm able to just be spitting, you know what I'm saying? Spitting knowledge, spitting facts, spitting initial thoughts. But I got to remember in my mind what this smells like. So I have one fragrance right here. I have another one. Okay. So I wanted to bring these up because obviously I'm going to do a comparison to make sure I'm not talking out of my butt here. But this fragrance is very reminiscent of Louis Vuitton Imagination. Maybe a little more like almost this minty note. Like this kind of cooling sensation of freshness up top. It's citruses, it's amber, it's somewhat green. It almost feels aquatic, but I don't want to say that. I want to say more aromatic and fresh. Yeah, man, this smells like a mintier, fresher take on... I don't want to say it's a mintier, fresher take on Louis Vuitton Imagination because I haven't smelled that in a while, but it's certainly another rendition of Sahib Intense or Intimation. It's in this vein. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of orange, bergamot, neroli, gingery vibes. And while we're on topic, normally I would wait till the very end, but let's just go ahead and at least spray Sahib Intense since I think that's the more true to form fragrance just by a hair. Intimation is definitely good money, good bang for your buck. It might be closer to Intimation. Let me check. Yeah, it's closer to Intimation. Yeah, so just kind of, if any of you have put your nose to Sahib Intense or Intimation, which are inspired fragrances of Louis Vuitton's Imagination sitting under that $35 price point, one's $20, one's like $30. This is very much in that same wheelhouse. It's closer to Intimation than Sahib Intense, but Game of Spades just kind of is a little more, for lack of better words, this kind of like minty cooling sensation on top of it. That's really it. Let's go ahead and just switch windows here. This is the bottle. If y'all are unfamiliar, I've got it pulled up here. So I think this is the correct one. It's retailing for $220. I mean, that's on their actual home site. That's absolutely absurd to me. There's no way this fragrance is worth $220. You might as well go ahead and start picking up Louis Vuitton at that point, you know. I'm not sure if this is an inspiration of Louis Vuitton, but I'm probably certain that it is. It just feels like that. Top notes: Sicilian orange, citron, Calabrian bergamot. Probably butchered that. Mid notes of Tunisian neroli, Nigerian ginger, Ceylon cinnamon. Base notes of Chinese black tea, Gaiac wood, olibanum, and ambroxan. I'm not going to look it up, but I am pretty sure that that is Imagination's DNA almost to a T. Citrus, amber, fresh, spicy. I don't get the spice. Green, just the tiniest bit. Warm, spicy. Not really. It's mostly orange, citron, bergamot, neroli, ginger, maybe tiniest base of black tea. Barely get the wood. It's a fresh outdoor summer in the sun fragrance, you know, by the water. You know, you're sitting in Southern California on the beach, just walking along that thing, and you want to smell like fresh fruit, in a masculine way, I would say. Is this fragrance unisex? So this is a parfum concentration. Are they calling this unisex? I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. That's unfortunate. I don't know if it's a unisex fragrance or not, but I would call it unisex. I think it leans masculine, but I mean, women can smell like fresh fruit and ginger, or fresh citrus and ginger and neroli. Absolutely. This is probably like a perfectly unisex fragrance. Maybe the tiniest lean to masculine, but I think that's a subjective opinion on my part. I think this is perfectly unisex, if I'm being completely unbiased. I don't think this fragrance is worth $220. Amazon is selling it for $80 for 100 ml. So definitely get it on Amazon, or maybe even Fragrance Buy. Let me check fragrancebuy.ca. As a matter of fact, let me take you back to the window. A lot of you guys want to know where I get my decants and my fragrances. Fragrance Buy is certainly one that I get fragrances from. Let's see, Joe Milano. Let's just put Full House. Huh. Am I missing something here? Ace, Win. Doesn't look like they're carrying it here. Is this a new fragrance? We just don't have any information about this. It's just sucky. You know what I mean? Like, why can't it? We're on your main site. We're just giving us some dry information here. Let's go to the About Me section. Huh. Yeah, it's just a very artistic, minimal type of website. But yeah, no one's paying $220 for this fragrance. I'm sorry to break it to you. Anyway, guys, I don't want to run the video too long because I want to be helpful for you, but Amazon seems to have this fragrance for about $80. Do I think it's worth $80? No. Nah. Intimation is almost spot on to it. It's just a little more minty cooling sensation up top. And then but even that dries down on the dry down. Intimation will get you completely next door to that, if not in the backyard. And then Sahib Intense is closer to actual Imagination, in my opinion. So it's not quite like Game of Spades Full House, but it's a better frag, if you want me to say that. And both of those fragrances are under $35. Bit underwhelming for the price tag. Yeah, if this fragrance was $30 or less, I think it's an absolute competitive buy to these two right here. But $220 retail, $80 Amazon, not even on Fragrance Buy. Maybe this is a newer fragrance. It came out recently or something like that. But it's good to know that there's other Imagination clones out there. We know there are. It's just the Louis Vuitton fragrances, I think people are starting to realize, man, those things are cloned just as much as Creed fragrances, just as much as Roja fragrances, just as much as Initio fragrances, etc. So they're definitely, they have to be a part of the conversation. Do I think it's a good fragrance? Absolutely. I mean, who doesn't think citruses on neroli and ginger and black tea is a good combination? You're an absolute fool. But the price tag puts a sour taste in my mouth personally. And so I just can't justify such a simple DNA that the original again, if you're even thinking about buying this fragrance for the price, go straight to Imagination, even if you get half the juice, no question. Do I think it's spot on with Imagination? No. I think Imagination, the actual fragrance, is ramped up a little bit more in quality, right? This doesn't feel ultra juicy and real in terms of the citruses, the freshness. It's close, but again, just can't justify that price. You definitely want to go with either of these, which will get the job done. And this is a summer frag, spring, summer. So you're going to go crazy on the trigger finger because it's going to be lighter. It's not going to have as much longevity. You know what I'm saying? It'll probably be 4 to 5 hours at best, right? So you're going to be 6 to 10 sprays on the trigger finger, maybe even a reapplication depending on the setting. You're near water, casual wear, etc. Ageless fragrance, spring, summer dominant, but any season, any reason because it's a fresh citrus fragrance. Any occasion, mostly casual to semi-formal, anything lighthearted, but you still want to have a good curb appeal to you. And it's ageless. Get the alternative. Get Sahib Intense, get Intimation, or get the actual Louis V Imagination. With that being said, I hope you all have a blessed week. This fragrance was Joe Milano Paris, Game of Spades Full House, and it's a goodie, but not for the price. So y'all have a blessed week. Peace.